Welcome everybody to another Front Range Friday. Today we are in Globeville, and over here is where the Denver Post used to have a printing facility. What's behind me over here is the intersection where I-25 and I-70 come together. It's known as the Mousetrap. So we're going to mosey ourselves east of the I-25 line and explore this tiny neighborhood that has a lot of history. Globeville's history dates back to the 1880s when the smelting industry brought in a lot of Eastern European immigrants. There was also the railroad and the meatpacking industry, among some others, that boomed all the way through until World War I. You can see we have Denver skyline to our east here as part of being in North Denver. We are now crossing over the I-25 artery that runs north to south. There are some of these nice passes that come underneath or above to get from one side to the other. Globeville being so isolated, it's known to have grown inward instead of outward. There's a lot of people that worked here and lived here, and generations stuck around. With the type of industry that was here, it was a lot of immigrants that were looking for a better life. However, today, this region is still known to have a lot of poverty in it. 30% plus poverty rate. As part of that, there's been a lot of initiatives to add affordable housing. We will be checking some of those out. You can see some pretty cool murals here, gives it a character. Also seeing some graffiti and some rundown areas already. One of the railroads is moving right now, carrying some different things. So down on this street, you can see some of this construction and these rough roads. What they have is these small homes. It was a development to give very tiny accommodations for people in need. A pretty cool way to add some new housing without having to go overboard, throw a bunch of acreage or square footage at the problem. So you see how tiny they are. We'll turn around in a second, get the other angle. Right next to the railroad here, so it's not a prime location for big booming real estate, which makes sense. You'd put more of this affordable housing right here. Yeah, they're just little replicas of themselves, right next to some cute homes. So far, pretty tiny homes. See another couple of murals here as you go underneath I-70. Pretty cool. Good to see some of the neighbors out, give them a wave. These homes definitely get some noise from I-70 here, right on my right. You can tell it's a poorer area than any other neighborhood we've explored. And here's the church that we wanted to see. This is pretty cool historic building, landmark for the area. See, there's kind of a cool little yard in there. Centerpiece of Globeville. There's a school right next to it. Modest school with kind of boarded up windows there. The one thing you'll notice is that the yards here aren't very nice. Part of that's just the poorer area. Part of that is from the smelting industry dumping a lot of lead and arsenic all throughout here, which obviously makes sort of the ground less ideal for growth. There's been some revival projects and garden projects to look to revive that a little bit. Don't believe the danger levels are very high here. It's just one of those poorer areas, but it's not necessarily drug infested or anything like that per se. There is some industrial parts and then this kind of residential area that we're in. One of the good things, like most neighborhoods we've toured, or pretty much everyone, is that they do have green space and a park. This is Argo Park, right in the center, right in the heart, as they would say, of Globeville. Nobody out here, but there is a walking path and a playground, so you can walk your dog. This grass actually looks great. A pool area, likely closed because of COVID. Basketball court, yeah, so you got all you need right there. Pretty cool design on the building there too, with the Globeville on it. So you can see how much art there is even here. This building, it's fully arted out. Not a bad area here. There are some nicer homes. Gentrification would be taking over slowly because of how close we are to Denver downtown and the Highlands and other neighborhoods, Rhino to the south, that are starting to boom. We're strolling just a bit more northwest of Globeville here. Some housing developments to show. Here's your railroad crossing up close and personal, rips right through. Interesting tidbit is that at least 50% of the residents here are Latino or Hispanic, and it may be more than that. So, New bike. Guy passed me willy-nilly, didn't even know he was there. CI-25 up ahead. What you'll also see is a bunch of open land here, right on my left. This is where the Elisabetta affordable housing is. Right here, it's going to be built. I think it's like 6 stories, 91 units. Pretty cool graffiti. These are also affordable units. Even more building going on here. So they're really trying to make use of all this land in Globeville without totally gentrifying it, but actually using it for the residents. But my feeling is that it would have been gentrified a lot quicker without all of the stuff making it unattractive. This is the more industrial stuff here, away from the more residential stuff. The other side of that construction we saw. Tiny units there. Definitely interesting, very different than the other neighborhoods. You get some height, so you could see some of the vast views over to the right. Some of these homes, especially on the second floor, I bet. That's nice. The other side of the railroad crossing, we found it. Not sure how loud many of those trains get, but there's definitely horns that would be blaring. You can tell more industrial here as well. This is more upscale industrial. And the reason that we are over here is because one of these buildings, I believe it should be up here to our right, is going to be a Tesla repair factory. At least that's the desire. I'm not sure if they're approved. It might be this one, or the one over there in the back right. Yeah, so you'll have Tesla right here in Globeville. We're heading to the northeast part of Globeville now. It sticks out a little bit more. It's not flat with the rest of the boundary. But we're going past 52nd Street. And we'll go to the right to where there's another park area. It's an open space that they were redeveloping in the past few years into a proper park. Not too much of a view. You do see the skyline to our right there. Some of the mountains, or further away from the mountains, obviously, being in north central instead of northwest Denver. Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool graffiti too. It's probably the favorite part for me of Globeville. It's been a lot of this art. That's not graffiti per se, some over there, but just real cool art. There are new rail lines coming in on top of all this affordable housing, so we're going to see how gentrification takes over this neighborhood moving forward. Alright, so check this out. We are at the boundary of Globeville, and there is the Globeville Landing Park straight ahead. It's not actually in Globeville, because if you look down here, the river is the boundary for Globeville. It's on that other side. Still got the name recognition though, so pretty cool. A lot of geese in there. This is the South Platte River, the main river that runs right through Denver, all the way down. Alright folks, thanks for joining me today on another Front Range Friday as we explored the Globeville neighborhood. So until next time, signing out.